Welcome back, everybody. This is Michael Oliveris from JurisQ.com, where we bring you different attorneys from different practice areas to answer your FAQs, frequently asked questions on law. And today we welcome back Gregory Spektor. Welcome back, Gregory.
How are you, Michael? Thank you for having me.
Of course. And the reason why we have you is because you are a renowned authority on personal injury. You've handled so many cases, recovered millions of dollars for your clients, you and your firm. And it's always such a pleasure to talk to you because to pick your brain on different situations which need clarifications. We talked on our previous session, what happens if you're a driver in the car, there's a car accident, what happens if you are at fault, partially at fault, or the other driver is completely at fault, what are the different venues and avenues of compensation. Today, I want to talk about a situation where you are a passenger in the car. And by the way, this could be a very sensitive topic because you could be a passenger in the car driven by your husband, your wife, your friend, your relative, right? And you get unfortunately injured in the car accident. Who do you sue? For what? What happens if the other driver is at fault, not your driver? What could be done? Can you please explain to us?
All right. Well, first of all, in most of the cases, when you are a passenger, you are free from what's called comparative fault. There are exceptions, of course. You know, if you decided to distract the driver when he or she is going 60, 70 miles an hour on the highway. But I'm assuming we're not going into the exceptions, but rather staying within the rule.
Correct.
When you're a passenger, you're pretty much always a fault-free. What that means is that you can sue both driver of the host vehicle and the other vehicle. And to you, it really doesn't matter who has a bigger policy. I'll tell you why. I mean, it matters to a degree, but let's say, and we've had cases like that, let's say one vehicle has a $25 million policy.
Right.
And the other vehicle has a $25,000 policy. Now, for you to be able to go after both of those insurances, you need at least 1% from any of those policies.
Okay, what does that mean, math-wise?
That means this. That means that let's assume this case goes to trial. And I'll give you a perfect example of a case where that happened. Our client was a passenger in a vehicle that belonged to a company that services JetBlue. And it happened on the grounds of JFK Airport. And that vehicle, according to the driver, the host driver, was stopped at the stop sign, exiting a parking lot, where another vehicle hit it on the door, or the passenger door, exactly where our client was sitting. Okay. A pretty bad impact. They actually had to extract that door before the client could come out. Now, that car had $25,000. However, the driver of that car said that the host vehicle came right in front of him. All right, so now you have the story, and I'll be honest with you, with points of impact and so on and so forth, the story of the host vehicle was more believable. However, the police officer that had arrived at the scene of the accident, he cited both drivers for failing to yield the right of way. Okay, so we process the claim, we prepare for trial. It takes a few years, of course. It's a very heavily litigated case. We get expert witnesses, we depose both drivers, we depose the police officer that responded to the scene of the accident. We get all the medical records. The person's life is really shattered. I mean, she tried to go back to work. She couldn't go back to work. And at the end of the day, listen, we're in the front of the judge, and it's a pretrial conference, and the judge is saying, look, I see that you're your position might be more believable. But I've never seen the jury deny that 1% liability when at the end they ask to split, whether it's going to be 50-50,
Mhm.
60-40, 80-20, 90-10. Any way you slice it or dice it, you will most likely be on the hook for the whole policy.
Wow.
And we ended
And
up
that's what you meant
recovering.
before you said joint and several liability, right? That's what it
That's
means.
exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. And we ended up recovering $1.85 million for that client.
Listen, certainly
Which is very
that's
happy.
good news for the injured party. Of course, it's horrible to be in a car accident and to get injured, but at least now you have the means to support yourself and take care of yourself. So definitely it alleviates
course.
The pain for you and your family.
Of course, and you need to understand it's not just that simple to ask jury to award this kind of numbers. You
Of
know,
course.
we had to put a lot of work into this. We had to hire rehab doctors who applying how much it will cost to support that person's injuries through the life expectancy that she had.
Gregory,
We
you bring
hired
up
the economist. Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up excellent points here that I've seen too many attorneys, they take the case without a thought. And they just hope to settle it, get some money, and move on to the next one. With your firm, right, you actually analyze and you have a whole team to do it, to analyze the case,
Well,
to pursue all possible venues of getting money and bring in other experts for which you pay for those experts out of your own pocket
absolutely.
to
Absolutely.
analyze how you can maximize compensation for your client.
Absolutely. Listen, we have 10 attorneys on staff. And when you talk about experts, of course, you know, we work with these experts and
Mhm.
they won't just throw their name under the bus. When they opine to something, they do believe in what they're
Yeah,
saying and they do believe in their opinions.
exactly.
And we have a whole network of accident reconstructionist specialists
Oh,
when
wow.
there is a lot of issues as to how the accident happened. We have a whole network of doctors who can opine as to how difficult it's going to be to recover from these injuries or how much it will cost to support even the pain management for the person. It's kind of weird to ask for future pain and suffering because, you know, what are you asking? You're asking to have an ATM machine where you can come up to and get a certain amount of dollars for a certain pain. It's very difficult for people to grasp that concept. But
Yeah,
when a pain management doctor will put it out on a spreadsheet and then an economist will project it through the life expectancy and count in the rate of inflation,
that is
then you
very
get the
interesting.
actual numbers.
Wow, that's like a whole science. You know, at some point we should do a whole little session explaining that, just that. How do you calculate future pain and suffering? That's very, very interesting and intricate. And you have to be a real authority on the matter to calculate it properly.